Welcome back to Basics, everyone. It has definitely been a minute, and for good reasons. I had to take a overall break, whether you want to consider that mental health or just relax from the absolute chaos that has been ensuing in my life. It's always something, isn't it? But I actually have an explanation for that, and today's video is going to be a Q&A. I posted on Instagram. For those of you who want to follow along with my daily life, I post most actively visually, so that would be like video, just commentary, things like that on Instagram. My handle for Instagram is _Karuna Satori ASMR, and if you'd like to follow along with more public updates such as just photos and things of that nature, you'd think Instagram would be the place to be, but it's actually Facebook. And my Facebook handle is just simply Karuna Daniel Satori. I have two pages. I have one that's an actual page and one where you can actually follow along. You'll notice by the dates how often I post on each one. One's a photo of me holding a invisibility cloak from Harry Potter, while the other one, which is the one I'm active on, is me in a photo that my neighbor Scott Miller took of me, which something really awesome is going to be publishing this December. So I'm really looking forward to that, but I can't really speak on it right now. One thing I thought I couldn't speak on, I'm actually going to make the main focus of today's video. We're going to start off pretty serious and kind of work our way into a little lightheartedness. This is simply because things have gotten so bad to the point I thought that they had calmed down. My attorney thought that they had calmed down. Everybody had thought things had calmed down. But of course, with the person that we've been dealing with, John, it hasn't. And it's never going to calm down until John kills me, Megan, the girl in question, or somebody that he has absolute hatred for. So why don't we start off the video with my most asked question in the Q&A. Again, if you want to participate in these things that help future videos, follow my Instagram. I don't usually promote things like that. However, it really does help whenever I come up with a new video idea for Karuna Satori Basic. And that question is update on your Stalker story. So things had come to a halt simply because the last thing that had happened was John had made a comment, which I'm going to put right here, which was brought up in court last week, where he had said that he's going to be following my children home from school every day, Monday through Friday at dismissal time. That comment sparked absolute outrage, not just from me, obviously, and my kids, but with the police, with state police, with my attorney, with everyone. People got really concerned over this comment, and it got to the point where I had people sitting outside my house at all corners during dismissal and the kids boarding the bus in the morning. It got very, very serious. And of course, John didn't drive past our house at that time, because the Monday after he had made that comment, I think on a Friday, and Monday, because it was a weekend, I couldn't report it. I made the report, but on Mondays when I actually went in, I went to the courthouse and I filed what's called a protection from abuse order. Now, a protection from abuse order is differentiating from a restraining order in the way that protection from abuse is a little bit more serious. I guess you can argue either or, but a protection from abuse doesn't allow John anywhere near myself or my kids, depending on what's granted. So what happened was, I went in Monday. What you're supposed to do is you have to call Victim Services and get a reference number first. And the reason for that is because Victim Services will determine whether or not you are eligible for a protection from abuse. And it took 2 sentences before the woman who represented me to say, we are absolutely getting this filed now. It seems that you are in imminent danger, and let's get this done. I went in probably around 8 a.m. that morning, I think 8 or 9, give or take, and I didn't get out until 2:33 in the afternoon. It was a extremely long, stressful process. We had to go through a lot of kind of different things, and there were trouble with the computers, so the initial statement wasn't filed correctly. It was filed 3 times, and unfortunately, the right information was not put on the file. So that's okay, because what happens with a PFA is you can either get granted an emergency, meaning that the judge would see that you are in danger and you need this protection from abuse now. Because of the filing, it wasn't filed correctly. There was information stating that the dates were all wrong, the comments were all wrong, and that's fine. Again, it went through 3 people, including the prothonotary, to just type it in so I could see the judge, and he had decided I was not in imminent danger in that time because of the information, and denied the temporary abuse order. However, he did end with, "I do want to hear your story." He said, quote, "You need to get your ducks in a row and get represented by an attorney for when you come back to the hearing. That way we would know all, avenues of the information," things like that. So what happened was, a week goes by. I left a public comment on John's channel where I said I would be filing a defamation suit because John decided to say awful comments about myself, accusing me of assaulting a woman. The woman in question is Megan, who we're going to be talking a little bit about as well. I heard things from his mouth that I have never heard in my life, and didn't even know that those things could even possibly be labeled into my realm of existence. I'm still speechless about it, because the words were so heinous and vicious and just disgusting, but typical coming from someone like him. John is clearly undiagnosed sociopath. He's undiagnosed mental illness, and everybody knows it. It's to the point now where he's just incriminating himself with the things that he says, and it is what it is. So what happened was, update on the situation, after the temp PFA was denied, the hearing was scheduled for a week later. That was this previous Monday, October 3rd. I had my attorney there. Victor was there. The representatives from Victim Services were there. And then here comes John with his attorney and his mother as a quote-unquote witness. John subpoenaed Megan in to the court. And because the subpoena was filed less than 48 hours, interestingly enough, Megan didn't have to come legally. So she didn't show up. She wasn't going to show up. John was harassing her with multiple texts saying that he has a list of 50 questions that the judge is going to ask her, and, manipulating and abusing her as John does. And Megan, I sat there and held Megan because Megan was just beside herself. She doesn't know how to handle things, and it's unfortunate that we're all taking care of her while John continues to abuse her, and John will continue to abuse her because John doesn't get what John wants, and that's how he retaliates, is with threats, abuse, and whether that be physical and mental attacks. And actually, in a recent video John did, he essentially admits to pretty much attempting to murder Megan by leaving her in her own filth whenever she was in her active addiction. And it took a lot to admit that for Megan, because John wanted to expose that, because John loves Megan so much that he wants to go and expose Megan's deepest, darkest secrets. And what else can Megan do but just accept it and move on? It's awful. It truly is one of the most awful situations I've been involved in years. And this all stemmed from a comment, mind you. And I did have to take accountability for that comment in front of the judge. So back to that situation. The hearing was there. I was on the stand for well over an hour. I was examined by my attorney. I was cross-examined by his. His attorney's actually a very sweet man in real life. I know that he has to do his job. He has a job to do. I understand that, and that's okay. It is what it is. There's the legal side of things, and then there's in real life side of things. And John's attorney is actually a very sweet man. So I know he just had to do what he had to do, and I accept that. The ruling went as follows. The order of protection against my husband Victor was denied. The order of protection from abuse against myself was denied. I thought that was the end of the hearing. The judge that we had was in court for over 30-40 years. He's ready to retire. He's not having any of it, but he did end the hearing with, however, In the case of my children, Odin and Satori, the protection from abuse is granted, meaning that John cannot be anywhere near my children, which essentially protects myself and Victor too. It protects the family. But he made it specifically to them because John decided to make a video as well, mocking following my children home. He followed a school bus on a local road that we live in and said, "Oh no, somebody call Sarah," and doxed my last name, my married last name, things of that nature. John is extremely dangerous, and you're probably wondering, well, why are you still talking about this? And it's to the point now that it simply doesn't matter anymore whether there's a defamation suit. John has went well past the boundary of just overall, just that kind of unspoken, we don't go there rule in just daily life with people. But John does go there, and we are very scared. I am absolutely horrified he's still going to come in, and he's going to take me before anything if he doesn't take my kids, and then he'll take Megan. The same as the text from the original phone in question that John tried to also file a criminal complaint that I acquired, quote-unquote, mislaid property, which, the absolute insanity. So, update on this situation. The protection from abuse order was granted. My children are protected for up to 1 year, and if John is still continuing his antics then, or hasn't killed us by then, we will refile and continue it. So, legally, with the defamation case, we're letting John dig his own hole because, again, this is what John does. If it's not me, now it's Megan, and I feel awful for her because she has worked so hard in her recovery. She is the sweetest, most just, soft-spoken girl you'll ever meet. She's done nothing to no one. For everybody's answer, no, Megan and I are not in a relationship. John wants to just think that because Megan and I have been involved with one another before that we can't remain friends. I actually have no problem with her being friends with John. However, John thinks that it's just the end of the world that Megan is speaking with me. The only question I have for Megan, and she knows this, is why she would ever speak to the man who abuses her in the first place, but turns out that was a lie as well. John is so convincing sometimes that he makes it appear that they have been together for so long, and no, that wasn't the case at all. So Megan is just such a wonderful, sweet human being, and the fact that he's doing this goes to show that, John hasn't changed, and John is John. And as well as, it turns out, I was curious because I was thinking, why John named the judge on a recent video that was taken down because one of the detectives called him and gave him an ultimatum. A few people gave him an ultimatum, and John decided that he was going to call the judge by his first name and criticize him. When we were in court, John eyed down the judge very threateningly, in my opinion, if that's even a word. It was very frightening. It was definitely an interesting day. But I was wondering, so somebody had actually sent me a document that John had a PFA filed against him before from his ex-wife with the same judge in question. So that actually made a lot of sense whenever that went down. But as for everything goes, we do have a protection from abuse against him. The judge found that there was my children were in imminent danger. I completely agree. I think that this is continuous, and the fact that John is still just like running loose, it's awful. It's truly an awful situation. I think that it's disgusting that he has just completely slandered Megan. If it's not me, it's Megan. This poor girl hasn't done a damn thing. He let Megan pretty much seize on the floor of his home where he had her, dying, and did nothing about it. And his response to that, of course, is he's a victim. Megan didn't do what he wanted, and he just left her there to die. And I think that speaks for itself. I don't need to sit here and justify any other thing that John does to people because people see it on their own. Literally, I see the comments. They're crazy. They're awful. And then meanwhile, John is doing what sociopaths do, which is mimic behavior. Whenever I thank our YouTube family for support, John will go on and thank his quote-unquote YouTube family, which are bot subscribers, which you can see on his social blade. It shows whenever hundreds of subscribers go up very quickly. It shows the graph. They happen very instantly. It's the same with likes. It's the same with all of that. His analytics don't match. He's buying subscribers. So, of course, he's matching my quote unquote behavior in just daily life. Then there's the plaque that he has on his wall. He claimed that somebody who didn't send their name sent that to him. And then he pretty much says that he had it made and sent to him. It's a very interesting thing. My therapist, we were discussing that as well. Sociopaths do that, and it's awful because sociopaths also don't understand when they have done something wrong, and they will continue to claim that they're a victim, which kind of leads into my first comment, which out of hundreds asking about the stalker situation, this was one that I found very interesting. Why this was from Tanya. I'm going to post it right here. And she asks, why do you think people are saying you like to play the victim and this is all fake regarding the situation? And Tanya, my answer to you for the first one is, why do you think people are saying you like to play victim, is because in this situation, other than me making the comment, I am a victim of this. I am a victim of this man. Absolutely. I take accountability because there's a difference between in real life and online life. So for example, maybe my situation back in the day with Southern ASMR sounds, I completely did that myself. I am not a victim. I deserved everything that was coming to me at the time, because people misunderstood the situation and the way that it was presented was definitely different from how things went. However, I wasn't a victim in that situation, and I didn't claim to be. I made an apology video back in the day on the internet, because when internet creators have quote-unquote drama with internet creators, that's their own situation to worry about. It doesn't really necessarily ever go into your personal life, and because of all of the crazy things that were happening during that time in the BLM movement, things were very, very serious and very heightened. People were very on edge, and it was just an awful time. But none of that necessarily made it into our daily lives. That's where it kind of comes in with when creators have problems with creators. That's different. Like, I know, for example, Cam Nuggets isn't going to come to my house and threaten to stalk my kids and kill, me or my family. I know that he's harmless, and I know that my situation with him is just my situation with him. Whereas, and I have no problem with that. I think that he had misunderstood the situation, and I did what I had to do to protect myself. And then there's people like John who have made it into my real life, actually drove past my home, followed my children, mocked following my children, and stalks me continuously. It still goes on. Where I claim I am a victim in a situation, I initially made the comment, which I never should have done. John actually follows me in my real life. People like Southern ASMR Sounds, she's an ASMR creator. She's doing what she has to do. Cam Nuggets, he's doing what he has to do. I have no problem with those people. That was our drama. That was, quote unquote, I have no problem with those people because I know that they're harmless and they're smart enough not to come and murder me. John, on the other hand, is a sociopath. He's a narcissist. He's undiagnosed mentally ill. He's going to do something in time, and we genuinely are in fear. And whether I stay silent or not at this point does not matter. I stayed silent for 2 weeks where I'd only mentioned that, hey, we were given the PFA. And of course, what John does is he comes back, plays victim, mimics my behavior, and then claims that, he's in danger and the police are going to kill him. We're going to, et cetera, et cetera. When in reality, I'm genuinely concerned he's planning my demise at this time, if not my children. So, or Megan. I hope that answers your question, Tanya. And let's kind of move this now into a little bit of lightheartedness. My only ending to that is John's incriminating himself at this time, and everybody sees it. Never in my life did I see so many people come and offer their condolences, their support. I have people in places that you would never believe that are watching for my family and I right now. I never thought that this would escalate to what it did, but John's going to dig his own hole unless he digs the hole that I'm going to be buried in. And that's what we're in fear of. So I hope that answers everyone's question and the stalker update for 20 minutes. So Liam asks a little bit of more lighthearted fun drama. Do you still have the Werepup Reborn doll? Still involved in that community? Any tea? So yes, I'm actually going to grab him right now. Hold on. This is so exciting because he is the only handmade one that I have left. For anybody who's ever wanted a Werepup, you can actually buy them now. Asia Erickson who's the creator of Werepups, went and Here, let me put him in front of me so the camera hopefully focuses. Come on, focus on the little guy. He's so adorable. I literally live for him. Oh, the camera's not focusing. That's okay. Even if I put him in front of me. So he is the only handmade one I have left. He is the original that I ever had. His name is Einstein. He was the first one that Asia had made for me, and the only one essentially that Asia made for me. The other ones I won in drawings back whenever that whole drama was going on. I love Einstein. He's the most adorable little doll ever. I actually sold him for almost $3,000. The woman sent the money. I was ready to pack him up, and I changed my mind at the last minute and refunded her because I don't have contact with Asia anymore because I feel what she did. Here, I'm going to put him back real quick. To continue the question, I did not agree. I don't follow her anymore because I didn't agree with what she did to her followers in the past. She's a well-known artist. So many people wanted her art dolls, and she had multiple people on a list where she had their money and didn't give the art in return. I don't know Asia personally. I did spend some time with her brother at one point. I drove out and spent the weekend hanging out there. He's a sweet person, but from what I hear, Asia at the time had all of the time in the world, where she actually had her daughter start getting involved in making the dolls. And as far as I know now, I think that she's thriving. I saw some of her newer creations. I think they are gorgeous. I wish her the best. I pretty much blocked everybody in that community because I sold all of my reborn dolls. I sold the babies that I had that weren't from her, the alternative reborns. The only things that I have left are Gackman creatures, which are like these stuffed dolls that are handmade. And I have my 2 Baby Clon, it's a huge brand. And everybody hates that brand in the art community because it's the avatar, which is actually endorsed by James Cameron. These dolls are endorsed. I guess the arms and legs were stolen, like the shape of the hands and things like that. But everybody thinks Baby Clon's the worst because, of course, they became the most successful with their other dolls. But yes, I still own 2 baby avatars. I also own the new prototype. It's about this big. I'm not going to go get him right now because he's in storage. He was a prototype, and he's definitely rare. But yeah, that's how much werepups are going for, the handmade ones, up to $3,000. So not only is he a collector's item, but he's also an asset, essentially. But no, I have no tea at the moment. If you do, I'd love to hear it. But if you do want to buy a werepup, Trick or Treat Studios, go to trickortreatstudios.com. They're actually selling Asia's silicone creations. You can get a silicone werepup, not as soft as the original ones, but they are adorable. Right now they have Cooper, and I forget the name of the other one, but Cooper's the one with the open mouth, so it's definitely something that's exciting. Blue Art asks, favorite Harry Potter character and why? So I don't care what everybody has to say. I stand by it, but Ron Weasley is the most misunderstood Harry Potter character in the entire series, okay? I never wanted to be the person that said the books are better, but you are going to find so much more out about Ron Weasley in the books. He is so misunderstood. He's always the shadow of Harry. Harry's always number 1 in the friend group. He's just like the third wheel all of the time, essentially. I think he's a sweetheart. He's bitter because he doesn't get what he wants. Sounds like someone I know, but he's bitter, but he also has a big heart down in there somewhere, unlike someone else I know. I think that Ron Weasley is a sweetheart, and he's my favorite because he reminds me of a lot of myself when I was younger, just very misunderstood and doing what I had to do to get by. I think he's a sweetheart, and I stand by it. And I know the community's going to come for me because everybody thinks Ron is like the worst, and he's selfish, and he's blind, and I don't think that at all. In the books, it tells a very different story, in my opinion. So Samsy asks, speaking of Harry Potter, we've got the Harry Potter bedroom. Are there any other fun house projects you're doing? Yes. So in my, which I'm going to put a little clip right here, in my room tour that's going to be coming out this week, I have a scrapbook that I started last year. And what it is because I started reading the books last year, we started going to festivals around the area, one being what's called Ironton Wizard Fest. It's incredibly exciting. It's where everybody dresses up. You can actually go to real potions classes, herbology classes, super fun activities that they plan for kids and adults, which I absolutely loved. My kids loved dressing up last year. I have a photo on my mantle, which you'll see in the room tour, but whenever we got back from those festivals, I decided to start a little kind of like a role-playing scrapbook where I post photos and talk a little bit about my journey at Hogwarts, which I thought was very cute, channeling my inner child that I never got to experience because some girl, whenever I was younger, told me that Harry Potter was like the biggest book ever and I could never read it and I'd never be part of the Harry Potter club that everybody else was in, and I just said that I hated it from then on out. And then my husband asked me last year if I wanted to start reading if I wanted to start watching the movies, and I found the movies rather, I mean, they're beautiful, they're very fun, but if you, and I hate being so cliche about this, if you haven't read the books, you're not getting the full story. So definitely starting to scrapbook for my next project. Speaking of Victor and my marriage, PJ asks, how is your marriage going? Answer only if you're comfortable, obviously. So that's a really good question, and I'm very happy to answer it. However, I won't be talking negatively about Victor because I did something like that this summer and I ended up deleting it because Victor couldn't defend himself. He's not on social media, but Victor did do something very stupid this year. Whenever I wanted him gone, he came and got into the house and broke some things and hurt his arm pretty bad, but that has been resolved. So to answer your question, earlier this year, Victor and I were going to get a divorce. The papers were ready to be filed and turned in. My attorney was secured. Everything was going on. And of course, because of my health issues, I was very sick. My thyroid was acting up. It was a very, very awful time. And Victor really came through and helped take care of me. I'm going to answer with a very simple explanation, and I hope many of you can understand, especially those who are in marriages yourself or long-term relationships or people who are separated and have children. My kids are at the age now that they're growing up and they're starting to come slowly into their teenage years. They're almost preteens, right? I've been with Victor for going on 12, 13 years. I met him in mid to late 2011. And when you're with somebody that long, every single day of your life, every single day, there's never been a time that we've been apart more than a day or so, you become very attached to that person, and that person becomes the center of your world besides your children. They become everything that you wake up to. They become the person in and out that you know, that you are comfortable with, that you essentially share a soul with. Victor had a lot of trouble being a good partner at one point, and the things that I looked for in a partner, I was never met with. Whereas I was doing everything to meet and change anything that I couldn't meet in regards to Victor's needs. I completely changed my life from 2015. I did an entire turnaround and I changed, and I wasn't met with the same energy. Does that make sense? So Victor and I we were not doing well. And how many times have Victor and I separated as well? But right now, Vic and I are doing everything we can to co-parent. We're doing everything we can to be there for our growing kids, to be there for their teenage years, their first heartbreaks, their first firsts, and being where we couldn't be in the past. And I think that we're doing a very good job handling it. I think we're doing a very good job being together at the moment. And whether or not we decide to move forward with that divorce in the future, I will keep everybody updated, but at the time, you could say we are just co-parenting. So I hope that answers your question, PJ. And next is by Elf City, and they ask, what is the worst thing about recording ASMR? And I can answer that in a very simple answer, and that is noise. Every ASMR creator on this planet, new or old, you are all plagued by the exact same thing, and that is noise. Ask anybody. If they don't answer noise, then you're not a real No, I'm kidding. Noise. I swear, I literally go by Murphy's Law, which is anything bad that can happen will happen. And that happens every time I film. In fact, it's like whenever you're a child and you think you're waiting for a game to load, like the meme, if you act like you don't care, the game's going to load faster. That is the belief that I've adopted myself. I think that if I pretend that the noise is going to happen, and I won't care, the noise is going to stop. Like, I anticipate the worst when I film ASMR nowadays, because like even dead winter in the silence, God or the universe will somehow find a way to make noise and prevent me from filming ASMR. So I hope that answers your question, Elf City. I am sweating, but we only have a few more questions left. And the Scoury asks, how's your sister-in-law? So for those who don't know, Ashley, my sister-in-law, is pregnant. She's due next month with a baby boy, her first, and I'm so proud of her because her boyfriend's family, we ended up going down to a baby shower this summer, or right at mid-September this summer, about the end of summer. And I got to meet his family, and they are the most supportive, loving people you will ever meet. And that's so wonderful for her because she doesn't have any of her real family except for us, and who she keeps in touch with. And it's nice to know that despite us being 5 hours away, she still has the support she needs, and she knows how much I love bebes. So I'm so excited to come down and hold her bebe whenever he's born and be there for her in any way she needs. So she is doing wonderfully. She's ready to have this baby, and I'm sure she'll be happy you asked. So Stephen Strange asks, you're a Gryffindor by choice, or did you take the test? Speaking as a Hufflepuff. So I did take the Pottermore test twice. The first time I took it, I was dubbed a Slytherin, which is very interesting. It goes with Harry's story a little bit because Harry was almost put in Slytherin in the books, and they obviously put the quote in the movie as well. But I did take the Pottermore test. I did go about being a Slytherin for a good month. I kind of love the aesthetic more than I love the personality, and I don't think that personality fits me for this reason alone. Somebody had made a comment back whenever all this started, and they said, don't you think that you're a Gryffindor at heart because you have overcome so much in your life? And I really loved the way that that person presented the comment, and I went and took the Pottermore test a second time on a different account, and I was dubbed a Gryffindor by a simple change in opinion on one of the questions. Funny enough, what I was going to answer in the beginning but didn't, so I really loved that. It was literally like coming into Harry's story on my own. It's just a shame I still haven't got my letter. So the Scoury asks another question. Health updates. So everything is going well with my health. My levels, my TSH, T3, T4 with my hormones and thyroid are at a perfect middleman. It is like I never had Graves' disease in the first place, but unfortunately I'm plagued with that forever. My eyes right now are finally starting to calm down. This one's the bulging one. This one's the one that's lazy. I still take my medication called Upni-Q that keeps this lid raised. However, in the past couple days, I haven't had to take it. My eyelid is finally standing up on its own, which gives me hope that I am no longer in a flare-up, and I hope it lasts, and my immune system is not attacking myself. The only other new development in my health is I was diagnosed as pre-diabetic. I'm on the verge of diabetes, and the symptoms I was having pretty much explain that. So definitely have to change my lifestyle. Funny enough, who I'm sponsored by this month is called Cook Unity, which they send these absolute delicious meals, but they are full of fat. Well, at least the meals I choose are full of carbs, and I'm not proud of that. But other than that, my eyes are doing a bit better. My thyroid's doing wonderfully, and I'm feeling the best that I have in a long time. Now, that could change next week. Graves' disease is very unpredictable, but thankfully, right now I'm doing well, and that's what matters. So this is an interesting one that I wasn't going to talk about, but I do want to give a little explanation, and then there's one or two more questions, and I'm going to end this. Are you going to do OF again? Christian asks, and my answer to that is no. I am never going to be returning to OF, and I have two reasons for that. The first is that my children are now old enough to where they're starting to come into their own, and I just don't think it's appropriate to be consistently doing adult content, especially when my studio's in the back. and they just are starting to become a lot more self-aware. I'd rather be able to tell my children, you know what, mom did something embarrassing back in the day or did something back in the day, rather than your mom's going in the back to do this. I think that's extremely inappropriate, and I don't want them ever having to deal with that kind of mockery in school. I think it's awful. Do we anticipate it because of my past? Sure, absolutely, but they're going to be well prepped to handle that, and that's for another time. So no, I'm not going to be consistently doing adult content. However, even though I'm not returning to OnlyFans, I recently did something on what's called Throne gifts. So anybody who's a creator will understand what Throne is, or anybody who's donated. Throne is essentially like an Amazon wish list, only it's a wish list that's very broad. You can put things from Etsy on there. You can put things from third-party websites on there. You can crowdfund, which is what I'm doing right now. I used to have an entire wish list of things, which I'm very grateful. So many of our family members have bought out, which I cannot thank you enough. Everything that has ever been bought for me, I use. These pillows, the blanket that's on my couch, some of the bracelets I'm wearing were all donated through Throne, and I'm eternally grateful, especially to Chris, who is my top donator. He is wonderful. He actually lives very close to me, and I look forward to meeting him someday. Thank you, Chris. But what I did with the adult content is recently I was shown something. You can look on my Twitter. I'm not trying to promote my socials here, but if you want more those types of updates, you can follow my Twitter. My Twitter handle is KSASMR official. And what I'm doing right now is OF, you get paid monthly, or you can, cash out at any time, but the person is charged monthly. And no matter what, 99.9% of OnlyFans creators their content gets leaked. That's one of the reasons I quit OF, is because I was consistently having my content leaked and I wasn't getting enough money for it. And, basically what I've done this time is there is an object that I crowdfunded. It was a $500 phallus, if you will. People donated, and in return, I offered had to donate $40 in order to be able to get the video. And how that works is you put in your name, your email, and whenever it comes, it takes 6 weeks to make. I'll respond with the video, with the email provided. I know that video is going to get leaked, and that is why I've continuously crowdfunded it. I'm going to continue crowdfunding it. There's going to be one more if you'd like to be part of it. The requirements are you have to donate at least $40, include your email, and it will be sent in the reply, because Throne gifters have the option to thank their gifters with a video, photo, whatever, and that video is going to be included. So rather than doing OF and having to be constantly bombarded with people saying you're not making enough for the price, I'm going to make my own price and going to make the own amount of money, which I've so far raised well over $1,500 for the video. And I know whenever the video comes out, it's going to be leaked on the adult websites and never have to hear about it again, because I made my coin and that's it. But no, to answer your question, I will not be continuing OF in the future or adult content at that point. Right now, I'm experimenting a little bit with one video the first time in the past, and that's probably not going to go any further. KK Laura, I'm going to answer one or two more questions, asks, other than YouTube, what career path would you be on right now? And in the future, I definitely plan on doing hospice. Walking my mother home, which my favorite quote is, we're all just walking each other home. I always take that quote as walking each other like to the next realm or wherever we're going to next. And that just resonates with me so much. And we're all just walking each other home. And in 2022, I had the privilege of helping my mother pass on to the next realm. Despite the relationship my mother and I had, she was extremely abusive. I finally received that closure at the end of her life. What happened was, very short story, she had a massive heart attack 10 days before her life expectancy from her previous massive heart attack, where she had open heart surgery. The doctor gave her 5 years to live. She passed away 10 days before that literal date that was given to her, which I found was very interesting. My mother chose not to get treatment, and she came home to pass away in my arms. I was grateful and thankful enough to hold her while she took her last breaths. It was a very intimate 9 days. I didn't eat, I didn't sleep, I didn't drink, because I was so guilty that she couldn't do those things. and I felt connected to her in ways that I never had my whole life. And I felt like that closure I got really helped mend that relationship of abuse that she had given me my entire life. But despite our relationship, hospice, they were there more than anybody I know. They were so supportive. They were there when I needed them. Anytime I called, I will always thank Winber Hospice. And because of that, it really inspired me to be a hospice nurse in the future. So that is definitely the career path I plan to be taking in the future if ASMR doesn't work out, which can't do it forever. And I think the older nurses are the more wise ones who have experienced life. So that would be an honor to, help assist people pass away. So Hiltz asks, update on your health and counseling. So I did give an update on my health, and I actually just left my therapist a few hours ago. I'm still seeing him, and he is the most wonderful human being on this planet, other than, my children, of course, and Victor, and some other people, which kind of puts him in the same realm. My therapist is amazing. He knows how much I rave about him. And we were actually just talking about this today, that he fulfills all of the people in my life who have since moved on, such as my father, the friends that I never had. He is just a wonderful human being, and my therapy is going wonderfully. So thank you for asking, Hiltz. And let's see. The last question I got, which I thought is cute. Well, two. I'll answer two more because they're quick. Maya asks, what's your favorite Zelda character? Come on, Tulin. So I've never finished Ocarina of Time. I admit that. I've played mostly all other Zelda games except for the music one, which I can't think of the name, and Ocarina of Time. I never finished those games. Everybody raves about Ocarina of Time. I am going to be so attacked for this. I don't think it's the greatest game of all time. Anytime that I've tried to play it, I just think it's far too difficult. It was an older game, so I know the point of Zelda games is to figure things out and explore on your own. However, every single time I've played Ocarina 3 times, and the moment I become an adult, I quit. I just quit. I give up. I'm sorry. So I'm going specifically right now by Tears of the Kingdom, and Tulin is the absolute best character in that game. He is so strong-willed. He learns from his mistakes. I just absolutely love him. He is wonderful. But who else am I going to say but Link, of course. I love the Zelda characters in the Breath of the Wild series, or the newer Zelda games. But I'm pissed, and I'm sure that you can understand why, because the dragon is long, and that's all I've got to say. So last question I'm going to ask is by Hazabul. And Hazibul, if I'm pronouncing that right, asks, follower from Bangladesh, such a beauty you are. What is your actual age? That is so sweet. Thank you so much. I'm sad to say that I am 32 years old and getting older. Not proud of it. But that's okay. 32 years old, and I don't get filler anymore. I can't get filler anymore. I do have my lifts done, but they haven't been done since March of this year. And I developed a, allergy to Botox, so I can't get any of the fillers anymore. I've gained 20 pounds because of my surgery, but I'm actually pretty happy with the way that things are going right now with my health, with my life, other than, Stalker John. But I'm eternally grateful for the people I have and the support I have right now. It helps me not age as quickly, trust me. And I'll never be able to thank everybody enough for the support. So with that being said, I hope that this video suffices for this Q&A, and thank you so much for following along if you did. If you made it to the end of the video, please spam a regular red heart. I think that suffices with what's going on right now in my life. And with that being said, I love you guys with all of my Person Basic fam, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Oh, P.S. Comment down below what you'd like to see next. All right, bye.